Welcome back to my podcast, loves. Welcome to Linda Love Talks, uh, health edition today. On today's show, I have brought a fellow podcaster who is a mindfulness and resilience coach. He's a podcast host and producer, as well as speaker, and he helps to inspire people by sharing stories, which I totally just did on his podcast. So, Mo, would you like to introduce yourself further to the audience and help the audience pronounce your name as well?
Okay, thank you, Linda. So my actual name is Mohannad Elkhouly. It's
Hmm.
a difficult name. It's not Muhammad because Muhammad is a different kind of name. So Mohannad in Arabic means sword. So my father likes swords and all that. My brother is also named Saif, which is a sword. So that's a very small part of me.
Hmm.
Yeah, like you said, I'm a mindfulness and resilience coach. I've been on a journey ever since the pandemic was the start of it, but there was, things that started before the Pandemic. Yeah, and I have my own podcast show where I get people like yourself and others from around the world and in Egypt also to share their journeys, their successes, their challenges with the rest of the world, and hopefully inspire change in people.
I love it. That sounds so good. So let's get right into it because, mindfulness has been somewhat recent and we've seen it a lot in the news and a few articles here and there. But what is mindfulness?
Well, basically, Linda, mindfulness is the ability for you to be present in the moment, to be concentrating on what is at hand, not to be thinking about what happened yesterday or what's going to happen tomorrow. It's what is happening right now, because the problem with everyone around the world, human beings in all sizes and forms, we always tend to hold on to the past. We always tend to have this kind of, idea that if I was able to change one thing in the past, maybe I would have been put on a different path, and that
Mm.
doesn't work, and it's not fruitful for the person in terms of mental health, because whatever happened in the past is in the past. You can never change it unless, of course, you invent a time machine and go back. So,
Right?
yeah, yeah, if you have, and
And
in the future, you don't have, any say of what's going to happen. What my mentors always told me is, if you want to change the future, you have to change the present.
mm,
That's basically it. So that's how mindfulness is, and it's been there for ages. I mean, Buddhists and Hindus all practice mindfulness. Even in Islam, mindfulness is there. It's the idea. Whatever prayer you're doing in whatever area of the world, it's you're being present. So you're connecting with whatever supreme being you believe in, and at that moment you're present. Nothing's going to distract you from it. So so that's basically it.
so what exactly do you do? Tell us about your podcast and what you do.
So basically, the podcast came as an idea because I started thinking about mental health and advocating for mental health change because of what I've been through for in my last corporate company. I was in one of the big telecom companies here in Egypt, and I really was in a dark place. I was very depressed. I came out of a long period of unemployment,
Hmm.
back to the corporate world. I was not able to adapt at all to the corporate world again. Even though when I started working back in '98, I started in a telecom company. I stayed there for 15 years, so it's
Wow.
not something new for me.
Right.
But at that point of time, I mean, I was really depressed. I was not really, in my best state. I wasn't able to connect with people around me,
Hmm.
and the problem is everyone around you always thinks he knows better. How come on? Yeah, everyone around me. The managers told me, "Oh, you go and connect with the people. You're
Hmm.
not connecting with the people." And I told them I have an issue. Not directly, but I told them there's something I have an issue I can't explain.
Hmm.
I'm depressed. I'm not in the mood. I don't want to be with anyone. I just want to be left alone. And when I said that to my parents, of course, they told me, "Grow up. I mean, stop being such a baby. I mean, what's wrong?" So the problem is here, Linda,
Hmm.
that mental health in Egypt is such a big taboo. Nowadays, it isn't, but
Hmm.
before COVID, it was a big taboo.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're feeling depressed or anything, so deal with it.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, like toughen up. Like no big deal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And that's not
Yeah.
just in Egypt. I think that that resonates internationally. There's a lot of cultures that are like that. That are like, well, you put on a face for work or a face for school and whatever you feel or you keep inside. Yeah, definitely. I understand that. And
Mm.
depression kind of sneaks up on you. And being a podcaster like you are, like I am, it can take, being with people, especially if you do customer service or just interacting with people, can take a lot out of you sometimes.
Yeah, it does. Of course, of course, of course. People don't understand how much effort and work that it takes to do an episode. How much time it takes to write a episode or a content. What are the what are the question I'm going to ask you, Linda? For example, what do you talk about? How am I going to put the question in a way that I don't come off too, I don't know, aggressive or somehow you don't like the question, so you're not going to really answer it, or you're going to say something different.
Yeah,
So people think it's just talking. I mean, the talking part is the easy part. It's the preparation which is not easy, and after that, after we finish the production of the episode, and putting the music, making sure everything is flowing cool and nice, and it's a lot of work. I mean, it's a lot
it
of work.
is. It's
Yeah, yeah.
work. It's editing and so forth. But what is a resilience coach?
Well, a resilience coach is someone who helps people to show and identify that whatever problems you face in your life, you need to accept it, you need to acknowledge it, and you need to you know make a plan, overcome it. I mean, a lot of people I meet, they always have the victim hat. Let me put it in this. They're wearing the
Hmm.
victim hat. You
Right.
know, why me? Why is it always me? Why am I always out of a job? Why is it I don't have money? Why? And I try and come and tell them, well, you see, m- you are facing those kind of problems. Okay, but let me give you an example. Go to somewhere like Ukraine, or go to somewhere like the war in Gaza, or
Hmm.
any war, and ask the people who are in a war, how do they feel? What are their challenges? You'll find that what you're saying is a challenge for you, but you should be grateful that you are living. You should be grateful that you have health. You should be grateful that you have your wife, your sons, your daughters, whatever, your parents. Should be grateful that you are alive. These people who are in war, they don't know if they're going to live today. I mean, in 10 seconds, they don't know. They're fighting to overcome all the hardships, and it's not an easy thing.
Wow.
So yeah,
How do you know if you need a resilience coach?
well, everyone needs a resilience coach because everyone faces a different problem and a different journey, and it depends on the mindset of the person of how to overcome that those problems. If people are fixed, no matter what kind of actions or techniques I'm going to tell them, it will not change. It will not happen. It will not be able to overcome. The mindset needs to change. And I always like, to apply the 80-20 rule, the Pareto rule. So it's 80% mindset and 20% techniques. If you are in the moment able to say, yes, I need to change, yes, I need to stop acting like a victim and take some accountability, take some responsibility of where I am. And I'll give you a very simple example. When I was laid off in COVID, I had the victim hat, and I
Hmm.
I blamed everyone around the world. Why me? Why me? Why me? And then after 10 days of being, crying and acting so silly, I realized one thing. Wow, well, I'm not special. There are billions of other human beings who lost their jobs
Or lost our lives, worse.
and lost their lives. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I said to myself, and that was my self-talk.
Hmm.
Why are you so depressed? You have your wife who has a job, so there is income. I mean,
Right.
you're not
Yeah.
totally out of a job or there's no money. No, there
Hmm.
is. You have your sons are in their schools. Nothing happened. It's
Hmm.
just different, a different life.
Hmm.
And you have your parents still alive, and you have your relatives that support you. So why should I act as a victim?
Hmm.
Instead, I told myself, then you have to overcome all the challenges that you're going to meet. And
Hmm.
till today, Linda,
Yeah.
even though I advocate for resilience, till today, I meet a lot of challenges, ups and downs. Uh, People come to me and say, "Yeah, but you are a mindfulness and resilience coach." Well, it doesn't mean that I don't, get stressed out, or I don't,
You don't have
feel anxious.
emotions. Like,
Of
yes, you still have emotions and you're still
course, of
human.
course,
And I think even more for what we do, for both of us, what you do and what I do, which is a lot more of like the career talk and so on, we have to all be careful of the voices that we hear, our self-doubt, our subconscious that comes in. Sometimes we have to be analyze and be like, where is this, coming from? And again, have positive, affirmative statements, even if we have to go through them, right? Or have little
yeah,
affirmative, positive messages that we put on a wall or whatnot to really help us focus on, what the positive things that we have in our lives. And you talk about self-care and feeling more balanced, which is what I'm trying to do in my life now.
yeah.
Um, Self-care, I don't know if yeah, I think it's a cultural thing. I think it's a social economic thing as well.
Mm,
Because if you're upper middle class or well off, you think of nothing of getting a personal trainer. You think of nothing of, it's no big deal to have a gym membership. And many times when you don't make enough money,
mm.
um, getting a massage, going to the gym, having a personal trainer, those do seem like luxuries. So talk to us about practicing self-care and how to go about that.
Well, the interesting part is, uh, part of my transformation. I read a book by Robin Sharma called The 5 A.M. Club, which had a profound effect on my change, how I look at the world. I'm by nature a morning person, so I like to wake up early, even on weekends. It doesn't matter what I have. Um, but he said that the first 20 minutes you need to exercise, and exercising is important. Even though right now I'm not doing that, and that's something I need to handle. But
Hmm.
but uh, I exercise at home. I have my app on my
Hmm.
phone, and I exercise at home. I look after myself.
Hmm.
I stopped drinking sodas. I stopped eating junk food. No, very conscious decisions. I stopped smoking. So very conscious. That doesn't cost you anything. It
Hmm.
costs nothing to stop these things. It just has the will, or the ability for you to, if you want to change yourself, you want to be healthy, then you have to stop it. I started also sleeping earlier. I used to sleep, you know, um, 11, 12, 12 at night. Now sometimes I sleep at 9:30, 10. That's the maximum, because sleeping is important, and it's important for your self-care. People don't realize this, that sleeping is such an important aspect of you being healthy and being, aware, and your mind is active, that people tend to take it for granted. A lot of people tend to take it for granted and think that sleeping at 1, 2 in the morning is a good thing. As long as I sleep 7 hours, then I'm sleeping
Right.
well, you know. And I always tell them, yeah, you sleep 7 hours, not healthy 7 hours, and not deep sleep. And the right way, the research says, and I'm not a doctor, but of course people can ask a neurosurgeon what's the right thing. The right thing is you need to sleep between 9 and 10 in the evening, because according to research, once it hits 12 and becomes a different day, then you are not sleeping well. You need to sleep 10 hours, the 8 hours started from 9 o'clock. So that's why I wake up at 5, because waking up at 5 it's fresh, it's good, it's healthy for the person, and it's the best time to do all the activities that you want in the world. Your serotonin, your oxytocin, all those lovely hormones are increasing in the
Mm-hmm.
morning. Your the stress hormone cortisol is decreasing, because you're cleansing your inner body. So all these things are important in terms of self-care, and they don't cost anything. It's
Yep.
just a little bit change of the routine, and you find it better, even in terms of productivity. And if we're talking about careers and so on, in terms of productivity and efficiency, when you wake up early, you can at least, I don't know, read a presentation, or get to know you're going to say in a meeting, or whatever. So you're already, Robin always says that you're already on the way. You're not uh, an autopilot and frantic. People are autopilot and frantic,
Yeah.
and the coffee and the kids, and we have to go to school. And this is
Yeah.
definitely, it's
Mm-hmm.
in the United States. It's here in Egypt also. I like to take everything in the morning, one step at a time, and with a routine. I mean, a
Mm-hmm.
fixed routine, but I'm not in a hurry to do anything.
Yeah.
For example, today was one of the few days of that I woke up late, and I didn't hear the alarm.
Mm.
And once that happens, all my routine goes in at the window. I'm
Out
not
the.
able to meditate.
Mm-hmm.
My younger son is awake because he wants to go to school, and I don't know, dress him up, the uniform and the lunch boxes, and I don't know what else, and then take him go to school and come back. And the days is started. So today for me, for example, is not a good day, but I shouldn't, I should take it easy. It's okay. It's no problem. And I always say, people always say, it's okay. It's no problem. Nothing's gonna happen. But people always tend to have being stressed of
Mm-hmm.
anything. I always
Okay.
say that in my mind.
Definitely. Next question. What can you tell us about emotional intelligence?
Well, emotional intelligence is one of the most important things, aspects, in terms of understanding other human beings. And I had the privilege of reading Daniel Goleman,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, if I remember his name, his book, and really, it was really intriguing for me, because up till recently, jobs and companies in Egypt, when they hire employees, they always have the IQ tests, and the IQ test is not, I mean, it's not a test that determines your intelligence, to be honest. It's not the test to determine, let's put it, the test. It's a test, it's a good test, but it's not the best way to determine your intelligence. I think the best way to determine intelligence, see how emotionally you can handle yourself, others. The problem with work is tend to judge others because we don't understand their emotions. People tend to judge us because they don't understand us. And we tend not to be able to control our emotions either in the workplace or at home. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, um we have in the Indian culture, or my mentors from India, they always did this kind of meditation, which is called uh, Rasa Sadhana, if I can remember.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Indians love mythical stories about Shiva
Yes.
and their gods and goddesses, and so
Mm-hmm.
interesting. And the idea is that you're sitting in a magical forest under a magical tree, and you're meeting different kind of emotions,
Wow.
and reminded me of the movie Inside Out, if you remember the animation movie,
Right.
the one that where there was anger and disgust and happiness and sadness. It's the same thing. I mean, it's as if you're talking to human beings who are the emotions that you have. You have the
Mm-hmm.
disgust emotion, and you talk to them and you acknowledge that they're there, and you accept that they're there, and you're happy that they're there, because every emotion God had put inside of us has a reason, has a mission. The
Yeah.
fear, for example, fear emotion, it's there for you, for your survival.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the times, it's there for your survival. Our ancestors, if they didn't have that fear, they would have been eaten by whatever creature,
Predator.
predator or animal.
Mm-hmm.
So the fear is important. Anger is important, because it gives you give out all those negative vibes outside, and yeah, it's not a good thing, but after a while you feel relieved because everything went out. It's like a volcano. So emotional intelligence is really important because you understand who you are in terms of your emotions and you can regulate them. B, you understand other people's emotions in terms of being empathetic and empathy and practicing empathy. And then you can understand how to interact with others in terms of social gatherings and work. And this is how I can get to you and talk to you easily, understand your under and I can talk to an Egyptian person, and I can talk to someone from Dubai, and I can talk to someone from the UK, from France, or from Germany. I'm able to connect with other people because I understand my emotions, and I know that if I give you positive vibes right now, you're gonna feel really, positive and happy.
So what inspired you to do this type of work? Because you were doing something else previously.
Yeah, well, I wasn't, I didn't understand what I wanted to do in my life. I
Mm-hmm.
was, a typical corporate slave up till recently, and then a lot of things happened
Mm-hmm.
that pushed me. Uh, COVID, when it pushed me, and I was not able to get back to corporate life because here, I don't know, in the States, it's the same thing. Here in Egypt, once you pass your 40s, you're considered an old dinosaur. You cannot come back. So yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm now entering my 49th year.
Uh-huh.
So I know age is only a number and it doesn't matter. But to the recruiters, and you're a career expert, to the recruiters, they would look at my CV, say, yeah, you have extensive experience, but you're overqualified. They would look at my age. Yes, you are overqualified and overaged, so I cannot take you. And even if I take you, you're going to be older than the CEO and more experienced than the CEO. These are the comments
That is
I
so
remember.
interesting, but let
Yeah,
me tell you what overqualified means. Don't take an offense to that. Overqualified means for that recruiter is that they can't pay you. They can't pay you
yeah,
what you're worth, you know?
exactly,
So
exactly.
what's great about being in corporate in certain aspects
Mm,
is that especially now that there's more opportunities remotely,
mm,
apply in another country or apply in another state and apply to maybe one of the states or one of the countries that pays the most and have them pay you because then if your cost of living is lower and you're getting paid here, but your cost of living is here, you're
Mm.
going to be winning. And
Yeah,
apply for higher jobs. Apply for jobs that you're like, I don't think I qualify. This is higher, or maybe I do. Just go for it. You never know. You know?
yeah, yeah. I know, but you see, at that point, yeah, I always explain this later on that God had mysterious, ways of showing me opportunities that I didn't understand at that time, and I now understand, and I say, oh yeah, that's why. So
Yeah.
God kept on, closing all the doors to go back to corporate. That was a signal. That was a sign. He's just basically saying, "Hey, this is not what you're supposed to do. You're not a guy to sit behind a desk, behind a cubicle, 8 hours a day doing work, maybe routine work that
Yeah.
every day you're going to do. You're a person, you need to go and inspire. I didn't get that message until when my podcast started to pick up a little bit, and I started to meet different kind of people, and I started to even other people that kept on saying, yeah, you are a different kind of person, you don't really belong in the corporate. And I started to learn new skills because I told myself, if I'm not going to be able to go back to the corporate, at least I'd be something different. And
Wow,
this is
that's
why.
interesting.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, I taught myself podcasting through YouTube, and it started out as a hobby. I mean, it was basically in my
yeah.
living room. Now I have my own uh,
Little studio. I see that.
yeah, a makeshift studio as much as I can, and
Right.
yeah, so it's every while it's getting a little bit better. I'm getting
Mhm.
slightly better. So yeah. So I'm happy where I am. Yeah, at
You
least
know,
now
it's
I have a mission, and I know I like to inspire people and show them that if you want to do something, you have to take action. Go ahead. People just dream and don't take an action.
it's so interesting because it's like we're both corporate. I have over 20 years of work experience in corporate. Um, it's a mix between good and bad, but for a lot of people, well, for me, it was a goal to work in corporate. Um, I didn't start off in corporate. I worked in like little small places that the thing is you're going to work regardless. So, uh, my whole thing was trying to find a corporate because at least you got health benefits.
Yes, yes,
There's some perks, there's some pluses to it. It's not all bad. It just depends the company, right? And who your bosses are. Would you agree with that?
yes, definitely. Because uh, the companies I worked in were big companies. They had a lot of benefits, a lot of perks, a lot of medical. But to be honest, I didn't have any mentors in those companies. No one taught me anything of worthwhile except those people who I now collaborate together. While
Nice.
yeah, like now I work with a group of ladies here in Egypt. They have a coaching and training company. I work as their content developer, as their community man, as the guy that brings them, people to attend events, as the guy that brings them speakers and workshop. And I have learned more from them than I
Wow.
have learned from the other. And I'm not I mean, I'm not considered a full time employee because
Hmm.
they don't have employees except me and this girl who's the coordinator.
Hmm.
So, and the good thing is that I work with them. I do my podcast. I do team building events. So I have the freedom doing all what I want to do. But at the end of the day, I always tell them, I always give you the number one priority. You're number one. My podcast is number two, and anything else comes is okay. So because I believe in what they want, and I want to make some changes for their company.
That's nice. That's
Yeah,
wonderful. So you have more of a say. You have
yeah.
more of a creative space and more of a say. That's
and
awesome.
and and, and they treat me as I mean they treat me as a part, not as a partner, but as a partner in the whole thing. What do you think about how do you, because they know, they understand that I bring a lot of uh, experience and a lot of
Right.
value and a lot of things, this and I learn a lot of things from them, and I meet different people also,
Mhm,
you know,
mhm,
that which is good. During my corporate life, yeah, I mean, I understand corporate is good,
mhm.
has its perks, but it was not. It was never me. I mean,
Right.
it was never me. And this is what I recently discovered. As in 2020, I recently discovered that's not me. This is
Mhm.
not where I want to be all my life. I mean, yeah, I understand. My wife is a corporate lady. She works in the banking industry, and
Nice.
and she works long hours.
Yeah.
uh, I had a guest yesterday. She's on my podcast. She's a coach here in Egypt. We were
Mhm,
discussing the long hours. So I would rather work long hours uh, for something I like, I have
mhm.
a passion for, and I know if I'm working long hours, yeah, it might have some impact on my mental health, but I can, you know, manage. But at least I know that I'm doing something I like and I'm doing something that will change. But working for
Oh,
long hours
definitely.
for a company, I don't know what I'm doing, just doing what they say, is
Mhm.
not what I want to do in the rest of my
So
life.
I have a question. So you have a degree. Um, has a college degree changed your life or standard of living or
No,
given
no.
you a promotion or higher salary?
I've done my university degree or college degree, done my master's. None of those things helped me in any kind of way or sense.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It didn't really matter. It didn't really matter. In
That's
Egypt,
interesting.
in Egypt, not
Uh-huh.
like in the States. In
Uh-huh.
Egypt, for you to work in the workplace,
Uh-huh.
you need to be a university graduate.
Okay.
So
So
that's, you know, you
you
need to
have
be,
to be a
you have to
university
be,
graduate.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you're not a university graduate,
Hmm.
you don't graduate, so you're more of a like a technician, you know,
Right.
someone with lower education. um, you're not going to be eligible to work in a corporate. I mean, if you want to work in a corporate and you go to an interview, they won't take you at all.
Or,
No company.
well, in the States, they might take you, but they're not going to pay you. They're
Oh, Mish.
right.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. They might take you, but here they
Uh-huh.
won't.
Pay you.
So yeah. All the degrees I took uh, didn't really matter that much, but I did them because I wanted to do them, uh,
Nice.
and I wanted to do my DBA at the time.
Hmm.
Then I couldn't. I think me doing other things were much better for me.
Hmm.
Doing the certificate for the mindfulness coaching was important.
Hmm.
Um, but I mean, it didn't really differ a lot. But this is it made me at least authentic to the people, because here in Egypt you have to have, you know, a piece of paper saying that you're a coach. You can't go and say you're a coach and not show any credentials. You know.
Yes. You know what? That's what I tell people sometimes too. It's about your credentials. It's like in the United States, in order to drive a car, you could drive a car and not have a license, but I mean, hopefully you don't get caught and pulled over and get a ticket with the police. But it's like everything in life. In order to drive a car, you need a license. So for many professional jobs, in order to do it, you need your credentials.
Yeah, of course, of course. So you need your credentials. So I do that because I need the credentials, but it doesn't make me, I mean, less of a coach or whatever.
Hmm.
But I just did it so that people won't judge me and say you're a coach, but you don't have anything. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
same.
what's your advice for stressed out workers?
Stressed out workers.
Hmm.
Well, my advice is uh, number one, you have to eat well. And eating well doesn't mean junk food. It means eating well, eating healthy food, drinking a lot of water, and you have to work out. Exercise is important, no matter what you want to do. Walk in the park, exercise at home. Um, I don't know. Take your dog for a walk. Whatever moves you. You need at least 20 minutes a day, at least, And then this is not something for the fitness. Um, I don't want you to be a fit person. I want you to be healthy in terms of you are able to move your body, and you're not like at say at 50, you feel like you're an 80-year-old person,
Mm-hmm.
man or a woman. So this is the so exercise, drinking and eating well, sleeping enough, sleeping well. This is very important. Social media to a minimum.
Yeah.
I mean, to a minimum.
Yeah.
And my advice would be the first 20 minutes of your day shouldn't be looking at a screen, at
Screen.
least.
So
Yeah,
is that your message for the audience today?
yeah, that's my message.
Yeah, I like it.
Thank you, thank you.
Definitely resonates here because I believe we're addicted to social media.
We are, we are,
Pe-
we are,
People cross the
we are.
street looking at social media. Like you have to put the phone down and look, both ways before you cross the street.
We are. We are. And Simon Sinek said that long time ago, especially for the kids. I mean, uh, compared it to the alcohol, being addicted to alcohol. So being addicted to alcohol is not as harmful as being addicted to your social
Social
media for the
media.
kids,
Yeah,
because
definitely.
all the kids around the world, everyone
Hmm.
has access to YouTube, has access to TikTok, has access to a lot of bunch of I mean nonsense and sometimes very dangerous things, um, and it's really difficult for me. It's really difficult to tell your kids not to use your mobile. I mean, it's their generation.
Hmm.
They were born in this era. I
Yeah,
mean, this is the
definitely.
same thing. Same thing for me. If I wanted to, my parents would tell me don't use the computer, but I was born in the era of
Yeah.
computers. You know,
Or-
it's very difficult. But that is basically it. Yes, we are addicted to social media, and they've done it. The companies, and I know you've written a
mhm.
book. The companies have done it in that way to make people give the like, to make people always hooked on likes and downloads and followers, and that's how we are. I mean,
Yeah, that's our society now.
yeah.
But anyhow, Mo, thank you so much for being on the show. Where can
Thank
people
you.
find you?
Well, they can find me on Spotify, on Apple Podcast, on Google Podcast. Um, I don't know if there's iHeartRadio on it or not, but
Mhm.
these are the main channels. The podcast is called Wellness with Mo, so that's me.
Wellness
And
with Mo. Okay,
yeah,
I
yeah,
like it.
yeah. Thank you,
Thank you so
thank you, Lynn.
much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Absolutely.